We've made a simple prototype here to explain how Ed Leedskalnin moved heavy stones at Coral Castle. Here's the heavy stone. We want to move it that way. Imagine that's going up, so we want that bar to go that way. When we add power from DC batteries, watch what happens. It goes up. So we can lift the stone without using any work from our hands at all, just by using DC electricity, iron, and copper wire. If we want to lift the stone even further, we put some chains and pulleys to hold the stone where it is, take this pipe down and do it again. Put the wire on, and it's lifted up another 2 or 3 inches at a time. All we need are some batteries, iron, and copper wire, and then it'll lift stones. So that's how Ed Leedskalnin lifted heavy stones at Coral Castle. We're going to study today what Ed Leedskalnin did at Coral Castle with his perpetual motion holder. That consists of 2 electromagnets wired in opposite directions on a piece of U-shaped steel or iron. And then there's a 3rd bar below which can be attracted and picked up permanently. Now for trial purposes, it's okay to use a little square mild steel bar like that, or a little round mild steel bar like that. But Ed used pieces of galvanized pipe like this. So we're going to look at that. Secondly, Ed didn't use one of these switch mode power supplies, which only came about recently. He used a series of batteries like this. Here I've got various 12-volt batteries, a car battery or other little storage batteries. I've got 4 of them, and they can be wired in 2 ways. They can series or parallel. First we'll look at the parallel wiring, where all the reds are joined to reds and the blacks to black. That'll give you 12 volts out, but it'll give you the sum of the amperages from all of them. So I'll have about 30 amps altogether instead of 7 from each one. So your red goes to red to red to red to red, and they'll come up here and go to red in the coil. So let's turn it on now and see what happens. What we're going to do, based on all these 4 12-volt batteries joined in parallel and 2 black or red leads coming from them. The black lead is already attached to the 2 electromagnets. The red lead is just sitting here waiting to be tapped. So we're just going to tap the red and see if it'll pick up that iron bar. And it did. We take off the connection, and it won't come off very easily. Oh, I have to pull it off very hard. Next, let's see if we tap it, if this 8mm iron bar will roll toward the devices. Tap it. Nothing yet. Get a bit closer, and it rolls toward the devices. So it's a fairly short range interaction. And again, it's hard to take off. Finally, let's place a galvanized iron pipe, which is what, like Ed used, 16mm of diameter, and we'll tap it over here and see what happens off the batteries. Now you can see it rolls in very nicely. It's again hard to take off. Now this large 16mm iron pipe will roll in from quite a distance. Let's look what happens when I tap it with the batteries in parallel. So it rolled in from about 3 or 4 inches. Time we have another galvanized iron pipe, we put a wire coil around it to give more electromagnetic force. That's what Ed Leedskalnin used to do. And you notice the alignments of the coils are all going in that direction clockwise around the ring when they close. Let's tap it and see what happens. It joins quite nicely. Okay, now let's look at what happens if we take the iron pipe with a coil on it and we reverse the electromagnetic field in opposite direction, so it's running against the flow of the rest of the 2 coils. This is going to be cool. It moves away. It repels. Let's do that one more time with the bar a bit closer. Come over here, we're going to tap it over here only with the power supply. Jumps away a long way. there's quite a repulsive force in that direction. When we turn the iron bar the other way, so all the black reds are lining up, now we tap it and it pulls in from some distance. Now another way to wire the batteries is in series, like this. So the blacks and reds all join together from adjacent batteries, and you take the red and black leads from one of them as an outcome. Like that. And these are the red and black leads. Now when we do that, instead of getting 12 volts, we should have about 4 times the power. If we touch it here, DC, we indeed get about 51 volts DC, but the current's low. And if you add up 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 15, that's 51 volts from these batteries aligned in series. Let's see now how Ed Leedskalnin's P.M.H works with this 16 millimeter galvanized iron bar for 4 batteries lined up in series to give a total of 51 volts. The blacks and the reds all connect to each battery, and you come off one of the reds and blacks to the main power supply. So here we go. Let's tap it over here. We're just going to tap it. Ready? Wow, went on quite strongly. Look at that. Now we're still coming in with 51 volts for 4 batteries in series, but we've got this galvanized iron pipe of 16 millimeters wrapped with about 500 turns of 1/2 millimeter copper wire. And those leads are attached to the other electromagnetic leads, and you see that all the magnets go in the same direction clockwise together. So let's give it a tap and see what happens. Joins very strongly. When we join all 4 of these batteries in series, it works very powerfully. However, everything gets very hot for lots of power going through it. The bar gets hot, the coils get hot, everything gets hot, and you can only tap it for a second without destroying the wires. In summary, we have learned today how Ed Leedskalnin moved heavy rocks at Coral Castle, and maybe even how the pyramids were built. We just need some DC batteries, some iron, and copper wire, and attach it to a rock. When we add power from the batteries by tapping power here, the iron bar closes in a circle with these other coils, and it carries the rock upward by a few inches. Then you can attach it, take it apart a few inches, tighten everything up and do it again. If you repeat that lift motion a few hundred times in a row, you would have lifted the rock by several meters. It's very easy to do, and it costs almost no energy. This is a very plausible mechanism for how the pyramids were built and what Ed Leedskalnin did at Coral Castle. Best wishes to you all, and I hope this can be done on a large scale soon.